Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with 3 S's. I am your host here, Chantele Francis, and along with me today is my co-host for The Bachelorette. We have
Brazil.
Hi, Brazil. How are you?
Hi, I'm okay. How are you?
Pretty good. I'm pretty excited to talk about episode 2 of The Bachelorette. Now, if this is your first time on Reality Realness, well, then welcome. We are so happy to have you. Please message us in the chats. We want to have a discussion about this season. We love interacting with you guys. So if you haven't done so already, just subscribe right down over there so we can continue on with this conversation. So episode 2, what are your overall thoughts about this episode?
Some pretty cringe-worthy moments. And also some pretty heartfelt ones. So I think it kind of had it all. So
for me, okay, this might be a hot take. We're going to be talking probably a lot about these things, but I don't know if I like Clare as the Bachelorette.
There were a few times when I was kind of like, oh girl, you're making a lot of something out of nothing. But so I think I know when and where you're talking about, but she kind of, I think, net zeroed for me in a sense, because then there were other times when I was like, okay, if we didn't have a Bachelorette of this age, this wise, in her love language, we wouldn't have these real things happening and these real emotions evoked. So I think I kind of became net neutral, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely wrestling with a lot of different parts of the show with is it because it's different and unfamiliar? Is it because she's older? Is it because it's Clare? And I was just going back and forth and all around as to what about it was bothering me. And so it kind of just concluded that I don't necessarily like how she deals with her relationships. That's what I'm thinking of, because I don't mind, what she's the date.
I think what it comes down to is her not knowing how she's on the right road, but I don't think she knows how to properly manage her emotions or effectively manage them to where she can deal with it in a level-headed sense. So I think that's my struggle with her.
Absolutely. I know that she knows what she wants. She knows what she's worth, all that stuff, which is great. I love the fact that she's willing to stand up for herself. But there's some parts of it where I think that maybe she needs to have just taken one extra second and edited what she was going to say, or her approach to things sometimes came across as a little bit needy and defensive, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't, in my opinion, attractive as a lead. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was a little the main situation I'm talking about made her look a little insecure, and everything else she's saying is the opposite of that. So,
well, anyways, we're gonna get all to it, and just as a disclaimer to everybody watching that I'm enjoying the show. I think it's great that she's the lead. This is just me having my opinion about this character that we're seeing on TV. So I by no means want to be offending Clare, the human being, but the character on my TV screen is who I'm just kind of having, just conflicts in how I'm receiving her at this moment. So just want to put that out there, because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings or anything like that.
Right.
It's just my opinion, and this is kind of what I'm just judging it on, or whatever.
It's all we have to judge it on. So
the one thing that came up in the previews for me, and I wrote it down, was, okay, so we were talking a lot last week about the fact that, we think that she probably chatted with Dale, we're speaking of, before the season started. Mm-hmm. She has admitted to social media stalking all these men. Mm-hmm. So I was thinking, could it have been that she just had her eyes set on Dale, looking at his profile and just kind of following him through these last couple months, maybe not having actually interacted with him, and just kind of created an ideal version of this man in her mind. And then when she met him, I think she said something like, I was right. I think
romanticized the situation.
Say again?
like romanticize the situation.
Exactly, and being like, oh my god, like he's cute, beautiful. Like I love like what the pictures of seeing of him. Like the idea that she has about him on his social media, she really was into. And then when she met, she allowed herself to have this spark. So I wonder if it's maybe a feigned spark because she already has this idea about him from that she's built up about him for the last 3 months or 6 months or however long it's been.
So if you would have like brought that to me before the episode,
this week or last week?
Huh?
This week?
Yeah. I probably would have like ran with that like throughout the whole episode and like agreed with you. But the only reason why it's kind of making me think otherwise is because of what they show for the sneak peek of next week. But what their sneak peek of this episode alone was so far off from what actually happened. So I think potentially you could be right. And it's just like she has eyes only for Dale and is like not willing to open them to everyone else.
Look at this. Hi, J Jobs. How are you? Hello, Chantele in Brazil. Your opinions are why we watch your show. Please don't hold back. Thank you so much. Like we do know that is what the appeal is to listening to anybody's podcast because you enjoy hearing their opinions about certain situations. But there are definitely many thousands of people that will hear our opinions and think that we're maybe negatively speaking about people and kind of they'll at me and they'll come for me and they'll they'll just attack my character about having an opinion about something. And so I'm just putting it out there to anybody that might be new to the channel that I'm not trying to put her in a bad light. I'm just having an opinion about what I'm seeing in the situation. But 100% J Jobs, you are so right on the money. Thank you so much for being here with us. You are one of our faves, of course.
Yes, thanks, J Jobs.
And Sharad, hi Sharad, how are you? I know we're almost at 400. I know it's so close, so close. I mean, that would be amazing if we can get to 400 at least by the end of this this live that we're doing. That would make my day.
Yeah.
And I'll do a video of some sort, like on how to get to 400 subscribers.
I mean, yeah, no, it's crazy because I think back in
it's been 1 month since we made the aim to get to 1,000.
But I mean, a month before that, I think even you had like 120.
I don't think I had 100 the month before that. Was it 2 months? Wait, we started.
Okay, so when you did your 100 subscribers vid, like it's like if you're looking just like at stats and like condensed over time, it's like skyrocketed. So I think regardless, you should be proud.
Thank you. I mean, I think you have actually tons to do with this because I think what was really helpful is that we coming together and talking about Love Island for the last, month and a bit has been really what has helped us get some people that like hearing what we have to say and wanting to have a conversation with us. So I think it's been a collective, trajectory, and I think you have to take a lot of credit for that as well. So thank you, Brazil, for being on this journey with me because I don't think that it would have gone the same way if it was just me by myself sitting here. So thank you.
Of course, I never would have thought Love Island would be the show to do it, but
I know, right? I know, Love Island. Don't worry, guys. I got you. Once I get on, I'll help you out. Aw, thank you.
Thank you.
Nice.
You'll find love. I have no doubt in my mind.
So, wait, what were we talking about
though? We were talking about Dale.
Not that you're thinking that, you would have maybe agreed with that if you hadn't have seen the. So, okay, so why then more so than like with what you saw on the episode, do you feel as though they must have spoken?
Well, combining with what we saw and what we talked about last week with Sandman, and how we're pretty sure they pre-gamed and that potentially, because Claire said she didn't quit her season. So I know we had also hypothesized that maybe she violated her contract and they found out about it after. And then what Chris Harrison says to her, they've shown little snippets of it, but never had to do this before, but we can't continue on. And then showing the guys kind of start to suss out that potentially she had, met people on social media before this because she openly admitted to it with Blake Moynes. So combining all of that, like, I would be an idiot to not think that was what happened. But also, I think the Bachelorette producers, more so than any other producers, definitely edit it away to where you think you know what's going on.
Well, that's another thing too, because like we all have been told basically that Claire's not going to have a full season. She's going to end up with Dale, and that Tayshia's going to be the new Bachelorette. So this is information that everybody it's pretty much common knowledge as to the narrative. So what I'm kind of wrestling with is whether the producers are just kind of leaning into that being the narrative and kind of like giving us that what we need, or are they is it a complete misdirect?
See, I've gone back and forth in my head while watching each episode, and there was one point in this episode, I forget exactly where it was. I think it was like before their big, like after the second group date, and they had like the big hangout before, that's usually happened, the cocktail party before the rose ceremony that they didn't air. And she said something like, it was just like a clip of her audio saying like, I haven't forgotten about Dale, or like something like that. And it's like, she wasn't saying it then. It almost seemed inserted. Mm-hmm. And I was kind of like, because it didn't flow. It wasn't like she was talking beforehand. It just kind of was like, it seemed to be like inserted into right when Dale was like walking with her out to have their one-on-one like talk. He had like a gift in his hand with like a card on it, like in his left hand. I don't know if you saw that. It was like it looked like a t-shirt kind of wrapped up and then like a green card on top with like a bow or like a tie. So it just seemed like they're doing one or the other. They're really leaning into it and being like, okay, like Claire, since you did pregame, since you did like do this, like you're going to really sell it that like you two are going to, like ride off into the sunset together. So that's kind of where my mind went to at that point. But then after seeing the episode and seeing their preview for the episode, and it was the exact opposite. Like I thought Riley was talking to Claire when he was like, there is no me and you.
I've also heard at times that some of the soundbite or even the clips that are showing of things that men have said they're actually saying it to the other Bachelorette, whoever it may be. It actually might not be Claire who they're saying these things about as well. So they are definitely
So they've doubled the footage to just mess with us. So I'm gonna think.
Oh, your hug. Hi, Deja. How are you? So Deja says, I heard that the producers basically decided to end it because it was obvious that it was Dale. But if you think about it, they were already plotting because Tayshia was already quarantining. Yeah, I know we talked about this a little bit last week as well, at the fact that like, I think that potentially they started planning for it limo night. Like they're like,
because why though? They thought Claire would be a boring Bachelorette, or
with her saying like I think he's my husband when she met,
or
Dale.
that they already knew that like
they just were kind of like nobody's ever said that before. Maybe they just had contingency plan going on just in case like that's the direction that it started to go in. Maybe they always planned on having Tayshia and the other Bachelorettes, like people from Bachelor Nation, come and quarantine and do their little bit, and so that maybe she was always going to be coming there to quarantine, and then maybe when it started going down that way, they're like, well, we already have Tayshia here, let's just make her the Bachelorette. I mean, just goosebumps there, so maybe that's right.
Regardless, I'm happy because I think like I hope a lot of these guys stay because, like I said, I think maybe like Claire did her job as Bachelorette in the sense of like bringing their walls down and making them feel comfortable enough to like express themselves. And then Tayshia comes in, who might not be able to do that, not because she's not like beautiful and able, but because she doesn't have that experience and hasn't gone through something like Claire has, or like as many times as Claire has. So I think it's a very interesting season overall. And
that's what I'm really liking about it. Like we talked about at the beginning that I'm not the biggest fan of Claire right now, but I'm thinking that maybe I never really was a big fan of Claire. You know what I mean? I like the fact that she's an older Bachelorette, so I find that to be interesting because we don't really see that. But I don't know if I actually care for her. There's been certain seasons where I enjoyed her, but it was never all the way through that I was like super rooting for her. So I am happy that within her season, like a lot of new and interesting things are coming up. And it's not just a cookie cutter season. So I am happy with the season in that regard.
Same.
JJ also says, I think that they did it because they wanted to add more drama, making it seem like she left early. ABC producers are just being messy. That's
well, honestly, though, I think too, with Reality Steve being in the mix every season, like maybe there were like, no, we need to do something that's gonna not give anyone a sense of direction. Like they're gonna be guessing the whole time. So.
Well, he was wrong with how things ended with Peter's season. Like, he's gotten some misinformation. So I'm also wondering, even with Reality Steve, whether or not he's now maybe on the Bachelor Nation, like, ABC paycheck, and he feeds out certain information to help facilitate the season they want to be having on the Bachelorette. So that's another thing that I've been thinking about as well, that, like, what if Clare just has a regular friggin' whole season?
That would be crazy. I mean, that would be something that we wouldn't have to do 2 draft picks, which would be fine. And I would lose, or maybe I wouldn't. Who knows?
Pardon me? What the last thing that you said?
I said I would lose, but I was like, but then again, maybe I wouldn't.
No, I don't think that. Well, you're so far doing really well with your draft. We will talk about it when we get to that point, but definitely. So J-Job says Brazil's theory is intriguing. I never thought of Clare violated her contract angle. Yeah, I mean, the only thing is though with that is that I think that as the Bachelorette, you're kind of allowed to change the rules. And with the potential of violating a contract, you know, it was different this time around because she knew who these guys were in advance. So I don't know if she signed a contract saying like, I will not communicate with these guys like that I'm seeing before I even know if I have a season to come to. So
it's just interesting that they brought like Moynes into it, because you would think that they would want to keep that like on the DL, but they're trying to make it a storyline. And so I'm trying to think 2 steps ahead, but it's hard. They're doing a really good job.
Well, we don't know for sure what's going to happen, which is what we want. And it's leading for us to have, before we even get to the episode, we've talked for 20 minutes about like what these producers are doing. So we're going to figure it out. I mean, I'm happy to be doing that. I find it interesting. Data says, if I was Tayshia, I wouldn't have said no. I would have said no. My own season with promo and everything instead of being an understudy, choosing from the leftover guys. I agree with that as well. So, I mean, I don't know how obviously it's going to play out, but if it's the case of Tayshia was already there doing promo and then meeting the guys, and then, you know, Bachelor ABC has like a bright idea that they were going to like go and have Tayshia now be the Bachelorette, well then that could be, you know, enticing for her if she wasn't even expecting of being the Bachelorette at all. I think that if she was coming to the set, I would hope then that she wasn't coming there with the knowledge that she was going to be the Bachelorette. I would hope that she was coming for another reason, and then it was a surprise on her, and so that's probably why she maybe have said yes, because it wasn't planned. I definitely wish though that she did get to have like the full roster of guys. So I'm hoping that some of the people that Clare has let go on, even on night 1, that they stayed around, or new locale.
Yeah, I needed to charge her computer, but I moved the extension cord over here since mine went out.
like what happened? I'm like,
the whole thing.
Sherrod says, you guys should see what this producer said about how they cast the Bachelor. She's an old producer for the show. Was it on Wit and Rye's podcast or YouTube channel? Wit and Rye definitely did talk to a casting producer or a producer for The Bachelor and Bachelorette maybe a year ago, and they did like a part 1 and part 2. So is that where you saw this, Sherrod? G-Job says, Deja, good point. Deja probably did it because she's a team player. She's a team player, and it's also like a good opportunity. Like if she's
I mean, I don't think I would turn that opportunity down.
Mm-mm.
In hindsight, and I agree with what Deja's saying, and if, like, I don't think Hannah or Maddie would have said no because of Deja's reason. I think Tayshia was approached because they were like, look, these guys are interested in you, or potentially would be, that you had good reviews from your group date that you hosted or whatever. But I don't know.
I mean, they're going to ask her, and when you get asked if you want to be the Bachelorette by Chris Harrison, you pretty much say yes. Like, if you're part of that community because you're looking for love and finding love, like, I think that, yes, she won't get the promo in advance and, you know, have her poster or whatnot, but who knows what would happen when she becomes the Bachelorette, if that's what's going to happen. Like, maybe all that Claire stuff will be taken down and it'll be like bombarded now with like Tayshia the Bachelorette. So, I mean, we have to also be flexible with, like, everything is completely different than we're used to. They usually didn't have these people's names in advance. They usually aren't filming in La Quinta, in wherever they are.
By the way, again,
pardon?
Are the only places that they could have gotten to film are deserts, because last August, I was in Palm Springs. It was 118 degrees.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty hot there.
They're doing everything during the nighttime, but nighttime even was still probably 95, maybe 89 if you're lucky.
Yeah, for sure. We talked about this a lot with Love Island, with it being like just yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like deserts are but to be fair, right now I think deserts are the only place with occupancy, maybe.
And then B, I think that could have maybe be easier because everybody lives in LA. Like probably all the producers, Chris Harrison, crew would probably all be LA locals. And so it was probably easy for them to find a space that was decently close for them to all start quarantining, you know?
Yeah, true.
And just like being able to, like, having access to it a lot more quickly. Like if they had to fly somewhere, like, I think it just was easy for them to set and be like, hey, where can we do that's nearby, that has no occupants right now, that we can like overtake an entire resort. And so I think that's why they went that way. Because it's like, what, a couple hours drive to Palm Springs?
It's about 2.5. And then 4 to Vegas. There's something like.
And they can't fly anywhere right now, right?
You can fly.
Not really, though.
You can. Oh no, you can. Like airlines are open. They're like Southwest is. So if they promoting like a middle seat for every airline, but their airlines are definitely open. My roommate had an airline or a flight booked to Virginia for.
I know within the states though, but like, can you?
Oh yeah.
To Mexico and.
It depends. So we can't fly to Canada because your country's not letting us in.
Yeah,
so it depends on the country. Oh, Mexico, we can go.
Yeah, I guess Mexico is actually like on.
Oh no, my friends have already been in Mexico. You can go to Mexico.
That's true. I've seen like some like Haley from Big Brother, where she was like she went to Mexico.
So it depends on the accepting country.
Such. Okay, sorry, I got some tea. I forgot about this.
What?
Do you remember who Angela is? Angela Babsick?
This sounds familiar.
So Angela, she was on the challenge. She was teamed up with Faith. I don't know if it was like a rival season or whatever. So Faith from she was on Vanderpump Rules, and her and Faith were both on X on the Beach. So Angela, she dated Nelly Nelson.
Is it Bassett?
Yeah.
Oh. Let me see.
She dated Nelson T from the challenge.
Okay, yeah.
She's dating, apparently, Mike Johnson from The Bachelorette. Or The Bachelorette from Hannah season.
Oh, really? It took me a second because I was like, Mike Jenkerson from Love Island, so MJ. And then, yeah, it took me, and then the Bachelor's name is Mike, is it not? Mike J? Matt James
Johnson.
Oh,
James.
Matt James. Okay, yeah. So no, it took me a second. Oh my God, really?
So
Interesting.
yeah, apparently the reason why that it triggered me is that she went to Mexico for her birthday a couple of days ago, and I didn't see him in it, but everybody was like being like, oh, like she's so thirsty, like she's like whatever. They were just like trashing her as usual. And I was like, oh my God, though, like that's such a great pairing, because like as much as Angela has been in kind of relationships that were a little bit explosive and not necessarily, you know, the best relationship that you'd want to see. Like she went on with Nelson from the challenge. They went on Dr. Phil. Like that kind of like, you know, there's a little bit of thirst that goes along with her brand. But I think that she deserves to have somebody nice in her life. And I think that Mike is a nice guy and he would treat her.
I was wondering why Mike couldn't find anyone. I'm like, dude, Mike is so hot. Why are people, and what was her name? Was jumping all over him, but then ended up going with starts with the C in Chicago. Angela, the other Angela. She was white. She had blue eyes, brown hair. She lived in Chicago, or no, wasn't from Chicago, but. And then there was like the guy named started with the C. Was his name Caleb?
I'm not sure what you're referring to.
And Bachelor in Paradise, and then she was like deciding between Mike and then she ended up moving to Chicago with the C named person. Oh my God.
And he has like kind of a light voice, like his.
Yeah. He used to be a football player, but then he like stopped.
I know who you're talking about. I can't think of his name right now.
Oh my gosh.
Clint? No. Anyways, guys in the chat, like help us out. So what's the guy's name? I forget whose season he was from the Bachelorette. He's light skinned. He never really liked his voice. He always thought his voice didn't suit his body. He's quite big. He was dating Angela, really pretty Angela. They broke up and she was really upset about it on Bachelor in Paradise. They were both there. And anyways.
Maybe it wasn't for Hannah Brown.
He wouldn't have been Hannah's season.
Oh, who was before Hannah?
Like, I don't remember.
Oh man, I don't know.
Was it Rachel? No. Oh, it was what's her name?
Very back.
Well, anyways, since she's looking at something else, what I thought was really fun was Chateau Bennett. They definitely it was a little bit confusing, so maybe you guys can help me out here. So it seems as though maybe Bennett had an upgrade on his resort, or on how he. Like, because he had such a big one, they're showing everybody walking through this, and he has all his shoes laid out, at least one pair for every day. Clay, yes, thank you, Jay Jobs. I'm like, Clint, Clay, yes, thank you. Oh my gosh, Jay Jobs. Mike's problem is he kisses and tells. LOL. What? Wait, when he doesn't really kiss and tell? Tell me more. Give me more, Jay Jobs. I need more tea. I don't remember him being a tattletale in that regard. He really liked Hannah Brown. Yeah, tell me more, Jay Jobs. I'm here for it. And I want to know what you think. Do you think that Bennett upgraded his suite because he can afford it? And why do you think other people didn't do that? So you see Chris Harrison. Okay, so it's Clay.
Clay Harbor. Oh, thank you.
Long time ago. Well, okay. He dated Demi Lovato, Mike Johnson, but do you think that the fact that he mentioned to people that that's who he was dating is the fact that they're not together anymore? Like, what do you mean, Jay Jobs? I forgot about her, though.
Well, he dated her right after Bachelor in Paradise because she was tweeting about him, like on Bachelor in Paradise. Like, why could he not find someone? Like, why did no one like find him attractive? And so they started dating, but she was still going through her recovery. And so I think that's why it didn't end up working out. I love Demi Lovato though. But yeah, so it was like mid-recovery kind of, and they did go on a date. They went on like a TV show. Like they definitely were like public about it for a very like small snippet in time, which seems to be the case with Demi Lovato's.
Isn't she married or engaged again?
No, but it's already over.
Oh,
yeah.
Not to laugh at actually her life, but like
no, yeah, but it just seems to be kind of like a theme, which is I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, so Job says that Mike bragged about Demi Lovato's kissing skills, so she broke up with him.
Well, good for her.
I don't know. Oh my god. Okay. Okay, so Sharad is telling me to look at Jazzy Nicole Collins' Instagram. Okay, I'll find that. The producer who exposed the Bachelorette. Oh,
what?
Atlanta. Are you looking that up?
Yeah.
Okay. So Chris Harrison comes in to talk to the guys, and so I couldn't really tell whether or not it was Bennett's like mansion or exotic resort, or whether or not it was another location for these guys. But they had all the guys there, and they're kind of talking about meeting Claire, and he asked some pointed questions to, say, Dale, and Dale kind of responded that he's there for love, and he's interested in Claire, or interested in getting to know her better, and whatnot. And so they get a date card. I forgot who read it. I was going to ask you, Brazil, if you remember who read the date card. And so she wanted Dale to go on this particular group date because she definitely wanted to see him sooner than later. Like, instead of waiting to give him a one-on-one date, she wanted to see him right away. So she gave Dale this group date. Did you look that up?
Yeah.
Also, my question was, with Bennett's resort, did you think that he upgraded because he's rich, or what do you want?
No, I think that they're trying to play into that role for him because he came in a roles. I didn't think they were going to be all together after everything.
I mean, still, though, we don't know what's going to happen moving forward. It's still probably 4 days.
True, once they whittle down enough guys, but
so
yeah,
that they were all seated when Chris Harrison was talking to them.
Who was reading it?
No, where were they sitting when they?
They were sitting in Bennett's room.
It was in Bennett's room.
629. They keep showing 629.
Okay, so Bennett's room is where.
And they made a joke about it, after the credits rolled. They made they always make it a gag reel, and they made
why Bennett has the whole mansion.
I think because they're calling him Benet. It's kind of I think a joke on Bennett.
Well, Chateau Benet, it makes sense because if he's saying it's something French.
Yeah, I don't think he's French.
No, I know, but he's definitely playing up the fact that he has a lot of money. I'm just wondering why they would have them all be in his living room of where he's staying.
I think they're trying to make it a joke. Who can we give it to that would make sense? And he asked for a Rolls Royce, upon arrival. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, anyways, do you remember who got the date card? Who read it?
No.
Well, anyway, so they go on the group date, and Chris Harrison is there, and basically they're going to be exploring love language. And as much as I think it's extremely important, this was the first time where I was feeling very uncomfortable during this episode. There's having to say these kind of personal things to Claire, but in front of all the guys. I know that there's a TV crew and all that stuff there, but I don't know. I feel like it might have been more realistic if they went separately.
100%. They could have just waited outside.
Yeah, line up and just everybody an audition. Everybody just get ready to go in and profess their love to Claire.
Why not? Turn the shade. So
the first one, though, was words of affirmation. And I kind of wrote down, they're supposed to speak to Claire's heart. So Ben, I thought he was pretty good. I felt that he was real and truthful. I thought Ivan, he was pretty good, but I kind of felt that some of the guys, even though they're saying really nice things, I didn't feel that they meant it. They're just saying the right thing. And I personally felt that she wasn't impressed by Dale's at all. I don't know if they just edited her reaction, yeah, okay. Yeah.
I think she wanted more because she's you've already said more to me via DM slides.
I don't know. I'm kind of starting to think that that she didn't, and that she's kind of like, as you said, romanticized like what the relationship would be like.
Maybe.
And so, yeah, he definitely got better, and I heard his voice kind of quiver at one point. And so, yeah, like, yes, maybe he was nervous or whatnot, but like, I just kind of feel as though I don't know. I don't know if he's as into her as she is to him. And I don't feel as though these words of affirmation are ways to really, how he expresses himself and expresses himself to her. I think it was really awkward and I didn't necessarily enjoy it. I didn't really see what happened in between, but all the guys end up running back to their rooms and trying to get something. And so I guess this is, what's the other love language? Gifts of service? No, that's not gifts of service. 5 love languages. So they are going to be, acts of service, words of affirmation, receiving gifts. So that must have been the one that they were talking and then quality time and physical touch. So they all go back to the rooms that they're staying in to get a gift there. And Ivan was cute. He brought a chess piece. It was the queen, and he had like something nice to say about it. If they didn't pre-think this up, I feel as though it was thoughtful, to figure out something that he could bring that would mean something. Riley brought a baseball. He says it was from his last game, I believe, that he played, and he wrote on it, "Don't complain, figure it out." I don't know if that's like the nicest quote.
One thing I was going to say about Riley's words of affirmation was that he went into straight lawyer mode.
Oh, I said it seemed fake. That's what I wrote down about Riley.
No, it was lawyer mode. He was like presenting to the jury, presenting to the judge, and then presenting to Claire. Like, it was like straight out of any murder doc that I watch, and I've seen them all.
Yeah, that's like the fakeness that I'm picking up for sure. Like, and I could totally see it being lawyer mode. Sell the jury on, your feelings.
I don't know if it's fake. I think, well, just to like kind of
fake in the sense that I don't believe that it was heartfelt.
I think it's the only way he knows how to express his thoughts, and so it could come off like fake. But yeah,
I still think that even though it seems as though what he's saying is working with her, I don't feel that they have a connection, and I don't feel that.
I don't think so either. I think he's being the martyr of the men a little bit.
Yeah. I'm not buying it. So that's why I think it seems fake, because I don't think he's actually into her, basically.
Yeah, I did like his promposal though.
Oh yeah, that's cute. Yeah. Okay.
No, I don't even think it was cute, but I thought it was a way to relax both of them and to like, all right, this is already uncomfortable. Like, let's talk about something that's uncomfortable. So I think it was like a good way. Like, I think that would work with Claire, and it did, obviously.
Before that though, so Ben gave her a t-shirt that smelled like him. I mean,
Ben, I would be drooling over Ben. He's really hot.
Really? Okay, I'm so happy we don't have the same taste in men at all.
Oh, just I mean, not looks wise, but like what he's said to her, and like that's why I think what's his name, Chris Harrison, called him a gentle giant, because like the things that he said during the words for affirmation, like his is the only one I remember. Like just that kind of like, okay, what he said made sense. What he said would have resonated with me, and then I like wear like a boy's sweater to bed all the time.
Cool. Yes, it's good. I guess I was feeling as though it's so soon. She's met them for like 3 hours for him to be like, here, so you remember what I smell like. She doesn't know what you smell like yet.
But she did say though that she's like a huge smell person, and that like, and then in the same date, she said, she was like, I know what each one of you smells like, when her eyes were blindfolded. So
you know what? I didn't see that part, so I was going to get you to tell me about the physical touch part.
Oh yeah, I got you.
So Dale brought her dog perfume.
So again, this went back to me being like definitely pre-gamed, because If anyone follows me on Instagram, I have a whole folder to my Nala baby. And, none of my friends in real life, like best friends, ever have looked in that folder. No one does. I guess maybe if you're going on The Bachelorette, maybe you take a peek in one of her folders. If she even has one. I'm not sure if she does. I don't think that unless Claire and him had been talking and she had Chantele could, Nala makes and breaks my day all the time. Like pretty much every other day. It's like she breaks something or I love her. So it's just until you're talking to someone, I don't think you really know how important their dogs are to you, regardless of how much you post them. So for him to bring the dog perfume with him, he must have known that she was bringing her dogs with her. Like, it just, tinfoil hat, Brazil, but.
To know that she's bringing her dogs with her. Interesting. Or lucky coincidence, she knows she has.
Or yeah, there is that other side. But when I'm watching it, that's kind of just like what's going through my head.
That's your. I'm always going to be devil's advocate.
No, me too. So I
know for sure what I actually truly believe here. But I can definitely understand if they didn't pregame and that he just did. They both did their homework and have and like each other. And
if he's a dog person, right? Like, I wonder if Dale has dogs, especially a big dog. I wonder then I would wonder less, because then he would get it. He would be like, oh my gosh, like if a woman brought me like dog perfume, like that's like if a guy brought me like Nala perfume, you know how many times I have to give her a bath? This girl smells and she doesn't do anything. Like she goes on walks outside, but like she still ends up smelling at the end of the day. So like it doesn't rain in California. So if someone were to give me dog perfume, I'd be like, that's very thoughtful. But if he has big dogs, then maybe he would understand the sentiment. But
I think it's cute, but like only if he has his own dogs.
That's what I mean. Like because he gets it.
I would want him to maybe do something that was more personal to her specifically, but I get him appealing to her dogs, which is like her baby.
Because she's telling him how much they mean to her. That's what I think.
I don't know. I don't like, even when I had pets, I don't know if the first gift that my potential husband gave me was dog perfume, if I would be that impressed.
Oh, I would.
I would be more impressed by the t-shirt. You know what I mean? With
I'm impressed by both. Yeah. Like I would
on it, like I was surprised. I think it's quite an intimate thing. And it would be nicer if it was like further on in their relationship. But I know The Bachelorette is just completely different than the real world. So I'm letting that part of it slide. And I think that like that would be probably either what I'd like the best, or like I would prefer a gift of service or something, like do something nice for me, or like plan something.
But you giving dog perfume is like, for me, an act of service. I'm like, okay, I can like go an extra day without a bath, fine.
I mean, I would giggle about it, but I don't know.
That's only something a dog person could know, I feel.
I mean, I've had dogs before.
I mean, like big dog. Like
yeah, Doberman. Well, my roommate had a Doberman that I took care of for 2 weeks.
Oh.
So it was my dog.
It's a big dog.
I mean, like for me, if he took the dog for a walk.
That too.
That would be more.
That's what I would do. Like give her like gift certificates, like free for, or like good for one dog walk, like so you don't have to, because she's taking those dogs out all the time in the heat too. Oh my god, those poor dogs. She can't take them out until the nighttime. Their paws will come off.
I mean, she's also from California, so their dogs are going to be used to close, at least the weather.
But La Quinta is like a different beast.
Mary's in the house. Hi, Mary. How are you?
Hi, Mary.
Oh, Brazil is quite the conspiracist today, LOL. She has all the tea. Dale has 2 big dogs.
This makes sense. This makes sense.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Thanks for coming in with some tea. So you have, in social media, stalked Dale like Claire has. Just kidding, slightly. But nice to meet you. Hopefully you have subscribed to this channel, and I'm so happy that you've joined in on the conversation here. Sharad says, both of you have the same love language. No,
you said I might because something in my chart.
Your Mars, or I think it was your Mars in Aquarius. Or
because I don't like, I'm like, if you're needy, I'm anti-needy. I don't want you to like touch me all the time.
A whole another conversation. I think that personally that you might be going against your innate like desire of your actual sign just because of what you've experienced in your life, and that's the way that you felt safe and protected, is not being emotionally open. But that's just like a completely other no. I know you're like, eye roll. I get it. But my love language is definitely going to be acts of service. And what's the other one? Hold on. I forget what they all are. 5 love languages. Do you have just that one, or do you have another one?
I don't even know how to name them, but I know like what I don't like.
I will tell you them now. So there's obviously words of affirmation. I don't.
Fine, I guess. Prove it though. Like whatever.
Words of affirmation, like I don't know. Lip service doesn't really do it for me unless, no. Acts of service, like I love people doing things for me. Like it makes me feel really happy. Like, my best friend Anna, like if she just does something random, she's like, oh, like for instance, okay, last summer my air conditioner didn't work, and she's like, oh my god, like you can't be in there in the heat right now, you're on the top floor of a house, like I am sending you in an Uber a new fan because I'm at the store right now, I'm buying you a fan, and she just like bought a fan and sent it to me in an Uber, and like that's like how she shows she loves me without being like, I love you so much, Chantele.
But I'm talking in love language.
I'm just saying though, that's just like I'm like Anna and I've been like best friends for.
I know. But like, so that means I love language too. But like, if a guy's telling me something I want to hear, or no, sorry, you said acts of service. If a guy's like, yeah, I guess acts of service I like. I don't know.
So that's, but I'm just saying like that's like something that like shows to me that someone loves me is by doing something for me without me asking for it, or something that can help me without me being like, can you like fix the light bulbs or whatever, like just doing something without, again, act of service of some sort. I really like it.
Yeah.
Like take my car in to go get it fixed without me asking.
Yeah.
Girl, when do we get married?
Right? Yeah, I know.
And then my other one, it kind of is combined, is receiving gifts. Because there's something about, it's specific types of gifts in that if it's something that means something to me. So like the gift of the fan, so it was kind of a combined one. So an act of service as well as receiving gifts is something that I needed, something that I don't care to get gifts. Like my parents, like they give me one big gift every year or whatever, but like I don't care about the gifts that people give me. But it's kind of like if I get a gift like unexpected for no reason, that is something I'm like, oh, and it was something that I definitely needed, or like I talked about once, and the fact that they remembered something that I really, really wanted, or they felt as though it was something that could help me or that I would appreciate, that is the type of gifts that I'm talking about. And I think it also kind of relates into acts of service as well. So I think it's like a combination. So those are the type of gifts that I'm talking about, but not regular, like I don't need presents, but a gift that is meaningful and that was thoughtful and purposeful, especially when it's out of nowhere. That's something that really gets to my heart. So, okay, the other ones for you, Brazil, to look at. So, okay, so words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch.
I think quality time for me, because I don't like gifts. I'd rather an experience. So like, I tell my dad this like every year, but my dad's like healthy enough again to be able to travel. So now potentially we'll be able to do it together.
Sorry. Sharad says Brazil doesn't like feminine men.
Probably not, because I'm not a tomboy, but I mean I'm not like very girly.
No,
So if you're more girly than I am, then that's a fucking problem. I mean, I grew up with like all men, so like I love sports, I love hiking, I love outdoors, I love like, you know, like I don't mind getting dirty and like doing things that I need to do. Like, I don't know. So yeah, if you're like very, what's the word for a man that like gets his eyebrows waxed and like, what's that called though?
Effeminate?
No, like a man is very blank.
Effeminate.
No, hetero?
Hetero is just super male. What do you mean?
I know, but there's like another word that sounds like that.
Metro?
Metro, maybe?
Metrosexual.
Okay, yeah. No offense to like people that are like that.
It's not my vibe, definitely. I mean, if you have like hair on your forehead, maybe you can have it waxed.
I mean, yeah, maybe if your hairline comes down to here, like. Hold on, someone's calling me.
Pardon?
Hello?
So, who happened next? Wait. Eyebrows wax. We do the charade. Not everybody does that. No, it's not my vibe. I don't like super coiffed personally, but I do like, and we'll get to talking about it a little bit more within these dates that she has this episode. I do enjoy people that have done some self-reflection, that have looked at their, you know, the way that they interact in the world and has done some healing. You know, I know it's very masculine to not express emotions and, you know, not cry and all this stuff. It's kind of in our society, that's kind of what we're told is the way to be a man. But I do appreciate when men have like done some work on themselves where they can see like, oh, you know, I was holding a lot of resentment in for like what happened in my life and my family up until to now, instead of like having just a big wall. And so if I don't consider that to be a feminine man, someone that has done the work and healed some of their past demons. I don't find it personally attractive when somebody has a wall up because it's things that they haven't dealt with from, say, their childhood or past relationships. So that's where I feel, and I don't think that that's a feminine quality. I would really like people to be open to talking about what they've gone through in their life. I work as a life coach at times, and I don't actually usually work with a lot of men. Most of my clients have always been women because women are obviously, it's easier for them to tap in and look at, you know, their emotional places and, you know, what they've gone through. Like, I mean, there's a lot of women that don't do this as well, but it seems as though women are ready to look at themselves, look at their shadows, look at like the past pain, past hurt, and deal with it. And so I would hopefully have a partner that would have at least be willing to kind of look at themselves and look inward as to what's going on. And so it won't, you know, transpire in our relationship as some big block. So that's what I feel about it. I didn't really see the physical touch date. Actually, before that, though, what I thought was funny is I call him the fart box guy. I don't remember his name. Is it fart box guy? Hold on. Sharad says, I was told men don't cry, so it's hard to cry or express now. LOL. Absolutely. And that's what I'm kind of saying is that, you know, it's not I'm not saying it's a bad thing that, you know, you were told not to cry and all this stuff. Like, that's just kind of what we have been conditioned to expect from men. But I would also, if like I was dating, say I would hope that, you know, you would look to why would you be holding these feelings in, and like, you know, what repressed feelings are unexpressed. And I would want to have that kind of dialogue with you, and without you maybe shutting me out or pushing me away, because I want to look deeper into why there's a wall that says don't cry. So I get it though. Like, yeah, I get it that it's hard for men to cry. We are just taught that it's not manly for men to cry or express themselves emotionally, Or is it going to be called a feminine man, Shrad? Just kidding. So I didn't really remember the physical touch date. Like my feed was not working and it kept on like jumping out. And so I didn't see this whole date. So I just cringed though at the thought of them kind of touching each other with the blindfold on, like in front of the other guys. Like I just thought it was a little bit cringe, or a bit cringe. So when Brazil gets back, she can give me some updates on that little date portion of the date. I didn't think it was fully appropriate. I don't know. I just feel like these are more private moments. I know they're making a show. I know that like it's being televised. They get that. They get that as well. But I don't know. It's just the whole date was just a little bit too cringe. It was too early for me for them to be going this deep, but they don't even know her personally. So I was trying to figure out what happened with the date, like the group date with those guys. So they're all kind of sitting there and it's evening time and she makes a toast and then there was just dead air. I mean, mortifying, absolutely. It felt awkward as F. And I'm thinking that the reason why this happened was that they can see that she's into Dale and she's not maybe being as open or as like, you know, the energy of getting to know these other men as she is with Dale. And so they're probably feeling and recognizing this, whether like it's overt that they're recognizing this or it's just like, you know, subconscious that they're recognizing this. But I feel as though they don't even think that they have a chance with her at this point. J-Job says, would the reverse Bachelor blindfold be approved on The Bachelor? Obviously, N-O. I mean, maybe, well, that's pretty cringe. To have like one guy rubbing down a bunch of women. I mean, they seem to be doing things that wouldn't be appropriate, obviously, the reverse way. We'll get to that later on with the other group date. Yeah, I definitely do not think the Bachelor being blindfolded and touching the women would be okay. Unless the women said yes, but I think that they would say yes because they're on the show when they would feel like they had to. So I do not think it would have been approved at all. I mean, if the fact that they're only doing like 2 drink minimums and all this stuff now because of what happened with Corinne on Bachelors in Paradise, I think that they're very aware of potentially sexually inappropriate situations on the show. And so I do not think that that would be a go. But Clare did okay this. And I think part of the reason why it wouldn't be okay the other way is that men are physically stronger than women. And so it's a different power dynamic when it becomes like assault / like touching inappropriately. So it would be different no matter what, just because of the power dynamic. And that's what makes it, we'll say, wrong the other way around. But yeah, there's no way that would be approved. Like, no way. No way. So super awkward, but finally Bennett decides to take her away and you know, start these one-on-ones on the nighttime version or part of the group date. And so she's kind of talking with him and he's expressing how he feels about her, even though like I don't think he's into her at all. And Clare kind of had to cut her off. You know, she was feeling as though he, the other guys were like, sorry, whatchamacallit? What am I saying? Yeah, she was feeling that the other guys just wanted to bro out and like that they didn't really want to talk to her and hang out with her. And that's, I think, is for the reasons that I was saying before. And so she cuts him off and she wants to go and address the guys because she's like, you know, it made me feel a certain type of way and I really want to nip this in the bud right away. So she just like gets up and leaves poor Bennett sitting there like awkward. Okay, so J-Job says, Shrad, what would your age range be your age range if you were offered The Bachelorette? I personally would want 35 to 45 would be the range that I would assess, or maybe even 30, yeah, 35 to 45 is what I would ask for personally. Which would be like an impossible, like not one person on the season like was at the high end. So I think Bennett was the oldest, and I think he's 40. And like I would not go lower for sure than 30. But like my baby brother's 37. Like I can't go younger than him. Like I watched all of his friends grow up. Like it's too much. But to be a little bit more flexible, I would say 35 to 45. But that's still a lot. So she goes back and she kind of addresses the guys and, you know, about how she was feeling that nobody really wanted to talk to her. And like, I think that was the first time where I was kind of like, well, Claire, like, I know that you were offended and you don't want to look stupid on national television. And, you know, these guys aren't seeming to be all into you and wanting to talk to you. But I really do think part of it is about the fact that they can see what's going on with you and Dale, and they just feel as though they're interrupting your date with Dale. And so I think that there's a little bit of awkwardness on the men's part as to like what's appropriate for them to do, because she's basically dating Dale, and it seems probably pretty obvious, especially with all the touching that they're having and the love hearts that are coming out of her eyes when she's talking to Dale. So then Yosef decides to open his mouth and is like, I'm going to speak for the group. And I was like, who put a quarter in you and asked you to say something? Like, I mean, I have him on my team because I think he's going to get me some draft points. And I'm going to ask Brazil whether or not like him being just generally disagreeable, if that gets me some points on our draft. But he is really, really, like, he's just not a good guy. Like, I just don't think he's nice. I don't think that he's into Claire at all. I think he's came there to be the villain. And I think he just wants to either get TV time or maybe get the call to go to the Bachelor in Paradise. Like, I'm not into his vibe at all. But Riley steps up and is like, no, you can speak for yourself. Oh, no, she says, no, you can speak for yourself, which I was like, that was a good line, Claire. Like, I'm happy that, you know, she wasn't allowing him to go and have a general statement from the guys, even though he's the one that's talking. And then Riley was not happy. And he was like, no, like, I'll speak for myself about how I feel. And so I was happy kind of like how that went down, not allowing the guys to let this guy, Yosef, go and like speak for them. Like, I was not impressed with him at all. But in the end, after just kind of like this mini confrontation about like how they made her feel, like Dale was like, okay, I'm not going to give anybody else any time anymore. Like, if I want to talk to you, I'm going to talk to you. Like, and we know that Claire really, really likes when people are very intentional about wanting to be with her. This is kind of like one of her love languages that is not specific. I guess it's quality time, but it's like she needs to have the validation, in my opinion, of these men wanting to be with her, and making it clear, making those gestures, because it seems as though she resonates with them affirming their feelings for her. So a couple of them did it. Definitely Dale did that. And then they end up walking off together and they have kind of like a moment together, they're talking, and he definitely felt bad about how she must have felt in this particular situation, and that he contributed to her feeling unloved, unliked, you know, hurt, whatnot. She definitely felt bad for that. And I mean, I feel bad for Claire too, because you do want to feel, especially if you're the lead of a show, that like some of these guys at least want to be with you. But I think that they're hesitant because she has such strong feelings for Dale. I think so. So what did I say? She said, I feel the same way, but I can't remember what I said, but they end up kissing, of course. I don't mind watching them kiss, so there is some sort of chemistry between them. Usually, if I can't watch it, that means it's awkward and put on. So I can watch it, so that I think means that there's some real stuff there. So I'm going to bring it up with Claire, but I think, not Claire, with Brazil, that I think that I want to get points for having the villain of the season on my team. So I'm going to add those points to our draft picks. So there's a next date card, and it's for a one-on-one, and Blake thought that he was going to get it. So Blake Moynes from Canada really, really thought that he was going to get this date. He was like, I've kissed her already. Like, we have a connection. Like, I'm getting this one-on-one date for sure. And then first swerve of the night is she gives this date to Jason. So the date card says, love will set us free. And this was definitely even more emotionally in depth of a date. And so basically they were there talking about, you know, what's been going on in their life and their past and whatnot. And Claire mentions how she was in like an abusive relationship and how being on The Bachelor was, by the end of it, it made her so much stronger, and that she was able to like look at how she deserved to be treated. And so the person that she was before she went on The Bachelor and was part of the Bachelor Nation is a completely different person than the, you know, who she is now. And now she realized like what she's like deserved and what she's worth, and she will never settle for somebody just like the crumbs of somebody that is, you know, emotionally abusive or even physically abusive anymore. So I think that's really good, that she's learned this, and this is kind of what she's standing up for. But there is still, in my opinion, a little bit of neediness in Claire always having to be validated, always have to be told that she's lovable and that people desire her and that she's liked. And so I think she does need a little bit more work, but this date was interesting.
I am so sorry.
Yeah, I'm gonna kill you. I'm like, I don't know what to say right now.
No, my cardiologist called, and like, because I sent my heart monitor back, it's like a whole thing. So
So we just talked about the fact that she got the date card, and then okay, sorry, I just confused myself. So Claire was talking about her abusive relationship with who?
On the date with Jason?
No, it was before that. Was it Zach? Oh, it was Zach C. Sorry, or is that one of the Zach that was recovering? I think it was him.
I think Jason happened.
No, Jason got the date card, and then I put Claire and Zach C talk about abusive relationship and being on The Bachelor made her stronger, and that she has a great part. I think she was talking to, it was just clipping in and out because it was before the date with Jason.
Because I was thinking, when would she talk to Zach?
Well, you know that he talked to her because he was on the date when nobody said anything.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's what day I was.
Anyway, so sorry, guys. I said that was the date with Jason, but no, it was the date with Zach that was in the recovering addict, that they were just talking about growth and, you know, being able to see what they've been going through and then move forward from it. So the next little segment is Riley and Claire. So you already kind of mentioned this story, and that, you know, that he was saying to her that he's man enough to know when he makes a mistake or when he does something wrong. And so he's just kind of admitting that he wished that he had stepped up and talked to her and wanted to go and talk to her. I don't know if you heard what I was saying, but I feel as though the men didn't talk to her is because they can see and feel and recognize that she's into Dale. And so I don't think that they want to necessarily step on their toes of this relationship. Like, I think that they're just being like kind of hesitant because they see what's happening between them. What do you think?
I mean, that's kind of what I thought at the time of watching it. And I kind of wish that Riley would have let Yosef dig himself a grave even further down, but so I could hear what he was going to say. But I don't think what he was going to say is that that he speaks on behalf of all the men in regards to them feeling so, like, I think it was going to be that. I don't think it was going to be like, oh, we can like your connection with Dale is palpable, and like that's why. Like I don't think he was gonna.
He's not gonna
but
that, but he could say something like, well, you don't really give us any attention or really make us feel as though like we want to be going to talk to you. You kind of only really are putting your energy and focus on one particular person, and it hasn't been us or whatever. He'd probably say something like that. Maybe. I did want to hear what he had to say.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was going to be something kind of generic, but regardless, I don't know. I don't know what it was. Like they all kept saying like, I don't know if it was because didn't one of them make a rule? It could have been before the second group date, the dodgeball one, but someone said like no kissing or like no something, and then it like cut to commercial.
I don't remember.
J Jobs, I feel like is like the most.
Yeah, J Jobs, give us the tea.
Yeah, if anyone can remember, but someone like it was like they came up with rules, and so if it was that group date, I could see like the guys not wanting to disrespect any of the other men by like not saying anything.
It definitely wasn't this date because I don't remember that at all.
Yeah.
So, you know, they do like a little high school slow dance, which is I thought was cute. She asked what song, and she was able to say "Boys to Men," which would have been so cute. Those are definitely good slow dance songs from, you know, the 90s.
Yes.
And they kiss. And the kiss threw each other off. What do you think about that? Do you think it was because there was a spark or because the kiss happened? Like, why do you think that they both like lost their words?
I think the whole thing was unexpected. Like, just judging off of what Chris Harrison said about Riley, everything I've seen about him has been kind of unexpected, not necessarily in a bad way, honestly. And I think Claire probably, but he does put off that kind of like guarded figure vibe, but I don't know.
J. says, sorry, I don't recall rules like that. Yeah, I don't.
Okay, so I'm going to rewatch the episode. Well, listen to it while I'm driving to my appointment, and then I'll like comment on the chat.
Sweet.
But yeah, I think they were both just surprised. Like, I didn't think he would be like, get up, like, let's, you know, dance, like prom. Like, I didn't expect her to say that she was never asked to prom. Like, you know, there was just like a lot of unexpected things that happened in that conversation. And I think, why not throw in a kiss when everything else is so kind of up in the air? And like, she would see it, like, I don't know.
Okay, so J. Job says, actually, I thought that they were just timid, but Chantele's point is interesting. Maybe they're intimidated by her and Dale's relationship. Like, that's kind of what I'm feeling. Like, I think that they're feeling not that she's not putting as much effort into them as he might be seeing with Dale, you know?
But what do they have to go off of that?
Well, like, they just had, like, the whole physical touch part of that date. Wasn't somebody commenting on the fact that, like,
yeah, but I mean, that's going to happen regardless. I feel like if you put a different group of guys in there, I feel like they would have.
Well, we're not able to see like how she's looking at him or like eye contact that she's making on you know, all the time, or like who she wants to sit beside or who she's looking at. Like, there's all these probably other tells that we can't specifically see on the show. It's just obviously an edited version, blah, blah, blah. But I think it would be pretty obvious to me that she's into Dale.
Yeah. I mean,
if she's that into Dale, she might not be giving them the same attention that she would as if she wasn't into anybody as much as Dale.
Yeah.
I think so. Yosef thought her response was hot-headed. So coming back in there, I didn't particularly like her coming back in there like that, but I didn't think that she was being that hot-headed. I think she was just being heard. What did you think about?
I wouldn't say hot-headed. I think overreacting is the better. It wasn't like she was screaming at them. I think she was overreacting.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, Yosef, you don't like Claire. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't like the way she does anything, the way she like reacts to anything. Like, I don't think he likes her at all. I want to ask you whether or not I think we need to include some points for the villain of the season, because that is definitely Yosef, and I want some points there.
No.
What?
If it was on my team, I'd say yes.
It should have been a category, no? The villain?
I'm just kidding. I mean, I don't care. Whatever.
Okay. So Chasen and Clare have their date finally, and she talks about, okay, I need to show you this picture, but he used to be like 325 pounds, which is pretty shocking. So that's great that he's like been able to slim down, because I'm sure it's better for him. So that's how he looked before. And then
on the Falcons, yeah.
And then, hold on, this is a better. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. When you're a football player, though, that doesn't matter.
No, I know. I'm just saying that, like, he's.
No, I know, but it's crazy. Absolutely, yeah.
So like over 100 pounds, he said that he has let go of or shedded. So I thought that was pretty impressive, because he's almost not recognizable. Like when I see him,
yeah,
just pretty insane. So they're going to practice letting go. And this is another thing too, is that I felt as though, as much as like I do appreciate going and talking about your feelings and like being, for men in general, to be open to looking at, you know, their past hurts and pains and stuff like that, that I don't think that makes a man feminine. I was talking about this before, but I do feel as though.
I don't think it makes him feminine at all.
I was talking about this in the chat before, just anyways.
Oh.
And so I felt as though she wasn't necessarily qualified to be having these kind of conversations with him. You know what I mean? Like, yes, she wants him to open up, but like, you don't know what is in Pandora's box. Like, actually, like, is it necessarily going to be a safe place for him to be expressing these things? Like, if he's opening all these emotions that have been like suppressed for 25 years or whatnot, like, I don't, like, he talks about it from his family and this and that. Like, I don't know if her like really being like, hey, like, I really need to know what makes you you, like, go deep down, like, tell me the truth, like, what are all your pains? Like, yeah, there could be things that come out within a relationship, but it's maybe things that like a therapist or a coach or somebody that is qualified to be able to handle these like fragile emotions, like, not on a group,
especially when it's not guaranteed that she's going to pick him.
Yeah, I thought
he kept saying. And if the rose ceremony was aired, like, say she didn't give him a rose and she didn't pick him, he would be reverted to his initial fear of everyone runs when I open up. So I actually agree with you.
I think that, like, it seems as though what he has experienced has like, you know, because they talk about in the next phase of their date, the words that people have said to them that like hurt them or whatnot. And so he was saying like manipulative, like just like words that I wouldn't put them towards him, what I've seen on the show about him so far. And so the fact that he has, it seems as though he has a lot going on that he may not have dealt with. And he came off as a mean, negative, nasty kind of person because he had a lot of pain that he experienced from when he was growing younger. And so I can have a heart's empathy for that just because I trained to, but like just a random person, like I think it's a little bit, you have to be quite sensitive to know whether you're qualified enough to be having these conversations with these people, because it could be more damaging.
Well, and you open up, like, I've gone to therapy. I don't care. Like, I think everyone should go to therapy. Everyone's got things that they need to talk about that they don't know they should. And that is like sacred information that I know that person is not using to A, judge me, or B, use against me, or C, use in order to like better themselves in a weird way, because it's also happened to me. So yeah, I honestly didn't think about it until you brought it up, but it is kind of like sacred info. And I've had that tactic used on me during therapy, like of writing a note to your younger self.
Absolutely. I mean, I like, it's something.
And so when she did that, I was kind of like, I've done this in therapy. And I kind of thought it was weird, but then I immediately went to like, oh, my therapist was shitty. Like, that's where my mind went. I didn't think, oh, Claire shouldn't be doing this. I thought I had a shitty therapist. In reality, she shouldn't be doing that.
I don't think so. Like if you're in a stable relationship and like you're having an open conversation, like that's one thing. But it's kind of like she was poking the bear a little bit to like get.
And why him? Like I wondered the entire time why Jason. Like he didn't come in like this like guarded like moody figure like Chad was in Caitlyn's season. I think Chad, like the big drama guy. Like he didn't come in like that. He came in like laughing and giggly and like fun.
Like, producers knew though that he had some of those things in his.
Well, that's fucked up on the producers too.
Absolutely. I'm just saying though, I feel like you have to be very, very considerate of people not damaging someone before because you're not able to hold this.
I mean, he put it all out there, and that's why like after the date, I was like so pro Jason, like not just because he's on my team, but because of like I'm like, wow, this guy really shared a lot that I never would have.
I don't think even like I talk about my feelings all the time, where I'm coming from, like past experiences that have shaped me or good or bad, blah, blah, blah. But I don't think that if I was on The Bachelorette and someone's like, go deeper, tell me more, I'd be like, I don't think that we're at the point where I feel safe.
That's a hometown date kind of.
Like you have to feel safe for that. And so I just thought it wasn't a good call on them to have that be a therapy session like that with someone that's not a professional to be holding that date. Like
the second she doesn't pick him, the second she picks Dale or doesn't pick Dale, whatever. Like I can't even imagine his thought process. Like that's actually really fucked up.
Vicky's in the house. Hi, Vicky. How are you?
Hi, Vicky.
Yes, y'all think I think Claire is playing. I mean, we did talk about this last week, but we could see that maybe her and Dale did pregame, and they decide like, hey, let's just play out the season. But like, I'm choosing you, so I wouldn't be surprised at all. Shred says, because when you open up to people, use that you. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's possible. And that's why I'm saying that I don't know if it was a safe zone for him to be sharing these things with her on a date for the first time that they're interacting.
With cameras in your face.
Pardon?
With cameras in your face.
And like, your family is going to see all this stuff.
I know. He talked about his brother too. And my mind went to, holy shit, would I drop my brother's name? Like, he didn't say last name, but like, regardless, people can Google you, figure out your last name, then Google your brother. And like, I don't know. I went to that place in my head too. And I was like, dude, he's like really letting go and really opening up. Mm-hmm. And when you put it in that sense, it's kind of.
Exactly. It takes time. You can't rush that. Exactly. Yeah. If they had the date where they were with a professional, so a therapist of some sort, and she was the one that was, leading
a third party
session. Pardon?
A third party, at least.
Exactly. Like someone that's trained to deal with the fragile emotions of human beings. Like if it's been suppressed, you don't know what you might be unfolding here. And it was just insensitive, I felt, and not a safe zone, in my opinion. I think he handled it really well, as you said as well.
Damn, my Claire net 0 went to Claire net negative.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, he talks about this being dark and heavy stuff, and like I felt bad for him because like I do think
you can't ask someone to trash your parents on national television. Like he made it very clear that he loves his parents with everything he has in him, but isn't going to do that. And she kept pushing him.
Yeah. And sometimes like if it were me and someone would start pushing me like that, like I would come out with the jugular of what has actually happened in a way that would have been like, oh my God, I wish I never asked you this. Cause like,
yeah, no, like shut the fuck up. Like you wanted it here. You got it. Now shut up.
Like that's kind of what I would do.
Same. I think I would be like pissed off. Be like, do you regret it now?
Exactly. Like, and then I'd probably walk away and I'd be like, you weren't respectful of what I've experienced in my life because you wanted me to appear to be, emotionally open and whatnot. And so I probably, if I were him, I would be
like, she's ready for that shit doesn't mean everyone else that comes on her show is.
Well, And I do appreciate him, how he dealt with it and what he was able to share. I am happy with how that went down, but it wasn't a safe zone, and I could totally see him lashing out and it being damaging to him with how, because she's not trained to deal with the repercussions of someone going into something that they've suppressed for so many years.
And what's the first thing people are going to say if he lashes out, say at the next group date? What's the first thing people are going to say?
I don't know, that he's bad apple, and that he's
crazy, like, you know, things were brought out of him that weren't ready to be brought out. You know, he has these expectations now. Like, she basically, like, if I were him, I'd be like, wow, this girl's really interested in me. Like, she picked me. He even said she picked me first. But that's not the case, and we all know that's not the case. So I think it's manipulative of her and the producers, especially emphasis on producers, to kind of
use his past pain as a segment for the show.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Now I'm angry.
But
now you've awoken a demon.
Interesting though, because I thought he handled it very well.
He did. I was like attracted to him. I was like, woof.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I was like, how he handled expressing himself, I thought that it was very attractive.
Yeah.
And, you know, it felt, what I wrote down exactly was, it was so attractive to see a man let their guard down. And so it went well, but it could have gone really badly.
And it still can go.
And it still can, exactly. So
because, like, what if next time they have like a conversation during a cocktail party, he does open up more, and she's like, whoa. And then he doesn't get a rose. I'm not saying he's going to do anything, but to his mental health, it's going to do a lot.
Absolutely. So she does kiss Jason.
Yeah.
So that's, I wrote down all the people I got.
So how did you feel? Did you have a spark?
I thought that it was a decent kiss.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, like, I didn't look away. That's kind of what I'm like, I didn't cringe.
What about Riley's? Did you look away? I forgot to ask you.
I kind of cringed a little bit.
A little, yeah.
Like, hold on. Shrad says, do you think 90% of the people cast are forcing a strong connection on this show? I mean,
I wouldn't say forcing. I would say making the best out of the situation that they are in and capitalizing on that, whatever means that may be. Like,
and also though, they're kind of put in a little bit of a different situation than in regular life. It's accelerated, and so if you want to talk to this girl, you have to go and put your time in and put in the effort. And so I would say it's forced because it's condensed and you only have a certain amount of time. And if you want to stay longer to get to know her, or, you know, whomever it is, you kind of have to do things that might be a little bit out of your own character.
Or comfort zone, yeah.
Shane John says righteousness is not the #1 priority of the show. Gosh, the show. Hi, Laundry. How are you? Hey, guys. Are you liking the new Bachelorette? In general, I'm enjoying like talking about it because there's a lot that's kind of going on about like the, you know, the righteousness of like.
Well, there's a lot more to dissect because there's a lot more that's like beneath surface level, I think.
There's a lot, definitely. I do feel as though it's less surface level for sure. I think that there's a lot of psychological things that we get to kind of touch on as to whys, you know, whether it's producer, you know, whys, how things are going. Like, there's just a lot of elements to go with deconstructing the show that I find interesting in general. And I didn't necessarily find it that interesting in other versions of The Bachelorette. So I didn't really enjoy Hannah's season. I just kind of watched it. I really liked JoJo's season. I really liked Caitlin's season. But this one, I don't particularly like Claire. I thought I was going to like her a little bit more. But it could be because she already likes Dale and she's not really being the Bachelorette in a way that's open to a lot of people interacting with her. So in general, I'm liking this new show, but I don't think I like Clare specifically. I do like all the drama that's unfolding around her show, and this is because she is the lead. So I find it interesting in general. What are your thoughts?
I felt very differently before you and I started talking. I feel like you and I normally like dissect Love Island before we like podcast about it. So this time was a little bit different. I'm hopeful. I really do think she deserves to find love. Mm-hmm. I just think that the guys that have come on the show after one freaking episode have already divulged more, not only time and energy and money and possibility of losing their job, but they've sacrificed a lot more than most guys do during a regular season. So I almost have that want and need of the men also coming out okay on the other end of this, which I normally don't care. I'm like, whatever, they're here. But like I now, especially knowing that this season could possibly end very fast, player-wise, I'm kind of almost rooting for the men. And I always root for the underdog, but like now I'm kind of like stuck in this spot where I'm like, do I root for Clare or do I root for these guys who have like put forth so much in order to find love, only to be like shot down one by one in their own way after putting forward so much? Like, I don't know.
And so one thing though that I thought was funny that she burned the dress from the finale.
She pulled that dress out and I was like, oh, I know that dress.
Burned it. I thought it was good.
Yeah.
Hey, Annie, how are you? So Riley surprised me, she said. I thought that he was genuine and his personality, and has personality. Maybe he's not right fit for her on her side. Yeah, I like Riley more than I thought I was going to like him. I just don't see them as a couple. I don't see them together. Like I feel as though, you know, you're saying it's kind of courtroom delivery. I'm feeling that it just doesn't seem genuine, as Murad would say.
Murad.
I'm just not vibing with their connection, but I think that I like him more than I was giving him credit for, because he was the undrafted person from both of our teams, because we thought that he was going to be more closed off and less, you know, likable and agreeable. But
from what we've been told by Chris Harrison, by the way.
Right. So, yeah, I just didn't think that he was going to be a great catch, but I'm liking him a lot more. I don't think that they're a match, though. Mary says, I want to like Clare, but she comes off a little insecure and needy. Hundo. That's kind of what I'm not liking about her. It's like, yes, stand up for yourself, but like also, I don't know, actually have the confidence. Like it's fake confidence.
And I wouldn't, if I had actually moved on from said trauma of my past, I wouldn't be doing it on national television. Like, oh, like you like how I stood up for myself and Juan Pablo. Like, I'm not shitting on Clare, but it's just not a trope I would have gone with. Yeah. It's not something like, oh, let me bring out the dress to remind people that Juan Pablo didn't pick me. Like, if you're trying to prove that, you know what I mean? It's just not something.
Well, but you know what, though, this could actually have been a moment for her. And because, like, you know, sometimes you could do like burn letters and stuff like that, and like throw it into the fire so you could actually be rid of it. So maybe she was holding on to that dress and that version of herself. And like, so maybe her burning it was, it was a little bit more theatrical, but like maybe it was finally just releasing that relationship, and that's not going to define her anymore. Like, she doesn't even have it anymore as part of her, like, something that defines her in her history. That's
fair for sure.
Annie says, same. I thought I would like the season because I was a fan of Clare and was interested in seeing what mature dating looks like. I find myself cringing. I don't know why. Maybe all the love professing and emotions. I'm with you here. I did say that, like, I enjoy seeing, like, it was attractive to see a man let their guard down, 100%. But it's kind of like, it's just so just begging for it. Like I want to see it naturally. Natural.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of what we've all come back to is like there's no organic content that I've seen so far.
Mm-hmm. Mary also says, knowing how hasty and emotional she can be based on her past experience, I don't believe her and Dale will last. Well, I am worried about Dale and her because I do think that she might have romanticized who he actually might be, because I don't hear when he's talking to her that he's really as into her as she is into him. I don't hear. Right. I don't know if it's just how he is. I can't tell yet if it's just like he's kind of stiff and wooden a little bit, but I don't know. I'm not sure. J-Dog says, yeah, Becca had the RE deconstruction date, but that was not 6 years later, like Claire, LOL.
That was like the season right before. This is like
the reason why she was the Bachelorette is because we watched her like terrible breakup.
Yeah.
I thought it was awkward.
So I wanted that trope. That was the trope I needed. Like F-R-E.
I mean,
F-R-E. P-O-S.
That she brought him up a lot, and I was just kind of like, okay, like I know that the reason why you're doing this season is because he dubbed you in such a major way.
But look at how much shit we gave Nicole from BB21 going into BB22 about not being ready. She had more time to deal with that than Becca had from going to like right. What's it called, Joker to lead. So I have a little bit of more empathy for Becca than I do for Nicole A.
Absolutely. I hear that. That's a good point. But I'm just saying that when I was watching it, I remember being like, oh, I was feeling she hadn't healed yet from the Arya relationship.
Oh no.
You know what I mean?
And same with JoJo and Ben Higgins. Like if Jordan wasn't on her season, I mean, I wouldn't have been able to move on.
Yeah, that was a pretty brutal one. The daily that Riley got the date rose, which was surprising, and Dale thought that he was going to get it. But like, come on, like let's have.
Like I said, that whole encounter was surprising. So for Claire, I think someone that makes her be like, "Whoa, he took me to places I didn't think he would take me to." Like he, not physically, but in her head. Like I highly doubt she thought she'd kiss Riley that night. I highly doubt that she thought she'd be dancing by Boys to Men in their minds like that night. You know what I mean? Like it was just unexpected overall. And I guess as a fellow Pisces, like I saw that coming from a mile away. I was like, it's gonna be Riley, not like
I knew that she was gonna pick Riley from what I watched.
Oh, okay.
But I was surprised in general, though, that Riley was the one, kind of like what you're saying, that got her to a place to receive that rose. But I didn't think that Dale was going to get it after.
And what Chris Harrison said about like him being, I think he said like he has a very tough exterior. So everyone based off looks and wrote. Oh, wrote off everyone, you know.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what I'm thinking, though, is that she might have just like put an idea of who she thinks Dale is in her head, and maybe she didn't pregame, and she just has decided that he is the man for her. And then when she met him, like, oh yeah,
I don't think Dale's the most attractive male on The Bachelorette, though.
I think his photos, though, he looks pretty good.
Sure, but like once it got down to the nitty gritty, I don't think I would have been like, Dale's the hottest one here.
I think that he's up there.
He's up there, but he's not the hottest. Like
I don't think Ben is on that list, and I think you do. So.
But that's what I mean. Like, but like once it got down to the nitty gritty, and I saw someone was talking, or how like they were like moving around a room, or like you said, like being able to like go on their own and like flow and like have everyone. You know what I mean? Like I don't think Dale is that person at all. So if she's just going off looks as what Sherrod, I got it right the first 10 times, is saying. I have to leave in 2 minutes though.
I know.
Is there anything you want to like? I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'll just do it. I'll just do it.
F it. I'm sorry. I'll be listening in my car though.
So they get another date card, and it's going to be a dodgeball date. So what are your goals? Dodgeball date and the fact that it's strip dodgeball in the end?
One, I don't think people should be coming for Claire because 2, I think it was a producer's idea that she bring it up. I don't think that they would be like, yeah, go ahead and what's the word?
Get naked?
No, like freeballing it, but for like a microphone. Like, what's that TV show? Drew Carey used to host it.
Whose line is it anyways?
Yeah. Like, what are they doing?
Improvising?
Ad-libbing. I don't think that they, like, they would be, like, okay with her ad-libbing. Like,
no, the fact is that you saw when they're in the changing room putting on their uniform,
their thongs.
Everybody had the jock strap or the jock thong or whatever, was the fact that they created those outfits because they knew that it was going to be something that Claire was going to suggest. And so she might have agreed to it, but, you know, I think that it was maybe their idea. And it's part of like the Bachelorette trope. And I know people are going to say also like, if it was reversed, would be okay with it. And I think the other comparisons that other people have been talking about was the pillow fight. I believe it was last season with like having like the pillow fight, awkward, but like they do these type of weird things on the Bachelorette and Bachelor. Like they do make them strip down. Like it's a little bit strange, but I didn't think that it was that crazy.
I didn't think it was that crazy. Like you said, they do it every season. Whether or not, like, I think for Ben Higgins' season, it was like they had girls like do a bunch of like activity and then like you smelled their sweat blindfolded. Like there's like these weird things that people do to see if like you'll come out of your comfort zone and do it like for
like even on The Bachelor in Paradise when Evan and Carly went on that date where they had to eat their hot pepper and kiss, like, and there's saliva and slobbering, like, that's a really awkward thing to do. I mean, I know it's not getting naked, and that's kind of
what I'm saying. Like, they pull people out of their comfort zone.
It's just awkward things that the producers have their bright idea of what to do. So I didn't personally think it was that bad. And I know that everybody had those black boxes, but I don't think that they were naked unless they didn't put on those jock straps, or the jock straps thingies didn't fit them because they
didn't fit. Yeah, that's what I got from it. It didn't fit.
Exactly. So the only awkward part that I found about it was that losing team that had to go back and do their walk of shame when she asked for them to hug them all on her way out. That I thought was awkward and cringe.
You're like holding, hugging. I'm so sorry I have to go to a doctor's appointment, but
okay, till next week.
I'm down to like dissect this half of the episode tomorrow if you're down.
We can do that. Let's shut her down here.
Yeah, because my roommate works so I can use her computer. So and I, as of right now, I do not have any more doctor's appointments scheduled. My cardiologist has called me, so I might, but I doubt it'll be tomorrow. It's hard to get an appointment that soon, so I think it's safe to say tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern time I could do this again.
What do you guys think in the chat room? Do you want me to just continue talking about the episode? I'm like halfway. We're kind of halfway through.
I will not be offended. I swear to God. I just feel bad having to leave halfway through.
Figure it out and talk about it now, or do you want to talk about it tomorrow? Before you can pop off if you want.
Okay. Let me know the outcome. Bye, you guys.
Bye. So Annie says maybe the producers are pushing her to talk about about I guess Juan Pablo because they know how unpopular he was and make her seem like the underdog. That's a good point. Claire, you know, I just kind of will prove the reason why she was chosen to be the Bachelorette was because of that scene where she like pushed him back and pushed him away and was standing up for herself and showing what she was worth. And that's the scene that keeps on getting played over and over and over again. That's kind of what she's known for. So I don't think that she's come up with all these ideas on her own at all. I think that she's definitely getting producer influence and she's okaying it. But I think that they probably asked her, do you still have that dress? Will you be willing to burn the dress or whatnot? And so I think that they come up with these dates together. And so, yeah, it's definitely producer heavy-handed. Laundry says going off looks is superficial. She should get somebody psychologically ready for a relationship who is not going to be just a yes man for her. Absolutely, Laundry. If I didn't say hi to you already, hello. Nice to see you again. Thanks for joining in the conversation. So tell me, you guys, what do you think, though? Should we continue talking about the episode, or we could just have a general chat for a little bit? Or do you want me to go on with what happened in the rest of it? Or do we want to wait for Brazil, come back on live tomorrow at around 2 p.m. and then do the rest of the chit chat about the Blue Balls date? We'll kind of go from there on within the episode, and then we can do more chit chats as well. So back to your question, Laundry. Of course, going off of looks is superficial, but I think that the fact that she had all the pictures and the bios of people before the actual the season, I think that's why she might be going as superficial, because she hasn't necessarily talked to them. She hasn't interacted with them. And so all she really had to go on is what they look like and how they made her feel through seeing images on Instagram or, whatever the social media she stalked about these guys. So I get it. I totally agree with you that it should be more about like actual connections. But I think with how the season has unfolded, she was able to have a different advantage of being able to decide who she was into, who she was attracted to, and who she wasn't first before she actually met them to see whether that came about naturally. Annie says, what you do want to do is fine with us. Okay, well, let's chat for like 5 more minutes about up until now, and then we'll just continue the conversation tomorrow with Brazil. I definitely feel as though Riley has pretty much shocked me here, like with being able to connect with her a little bit better than I was giving him credit for. I don't feel that he's into her. Actually, I think he's saying the right things and having the right gestures to move him further on in the process. But I don't think that he's that into her and really can see like a relationship with her. They just don't, to me, seem like they fit. Chasen is really into her now, especially since he did do this opening up. I feel as though expressing that with somebody really does bond you and kind of drives you closer together. And so I do feel as though now he's going to be a little more invested in their relationship. And so kind of like what Brazil says, I hope that she will be able to reciprocate this for a little bit longer, because, I don't want him to get heartbroken because he's opened up something that she doesn't share with just everybody. And then they don't end up together. So I am a little bit worried for him, because I think that he's now kind of all in and all head over heels. And if she doesn't choose him in the end, which we don't think that she is going to, he might really get his heart broken here. Who else did they have little dates with tonight? Oh, and personally with Dale, I feel as though she is really into him and is trying to make him into somebody that she wants him to be. I'm not sure if she's actually liking who he actually is. I think that she has decided on his personality and like that they get along, and everything that he's doing is affirming these thoughts that she's had about him. And I don't know if it's actually all real. So I'm actually getting worried, because the producers are very, very smart with how they construct their seasons. And I'm starting to think that she might not end up with Dale. Now that is a hot take. I don't know. I'm kind of worried that he's not going to do all the things that she wants and expects him to do. And I can just picture her lashing out at him or being like, just get out of here. Or like, I can't believe you did that. Or you said, like, I just can see him doing something wrong that sets her off. So I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you think about these 3 guys that there is kind of moments or date with? And how about Yosef? I think he's got to go. I mean, he's getting me points for being disagreeable and kind of confrontational. So, I mean, he can stay for that sense. And like, I think that he's decently good looking, but his personality is such a thumbs down. Like, I'm just like, the fact that he has had a relationship enough to have a child. I'm just like wondering how that worked out, that relationship, because it just doesn't seem that he has any redeeming qualities at this point. He may be playing a character. Why hot take? Very hot take. Yes, I know, I know. But I'm starting to think that the producers are playing with us. I don't know of her and if they stay together. I don't know. There's something off. Like, don't you agree with me? There's something that is off about their relationship, the connection, the season. Like, everything's just so off that I don't know. It's too easy for it to go exactly the way that Reality Steve says. That's just so easy. Like, wouldn't it be easier for the producers to develop this huge misdirect? Maybe she ends up with nobody. Like, I don't know. There's just something that's off. And I do feel like she's really into him. I'm not sure if he's into her equally, even though he says that he is. I don't know if I agree with that or believe that. And I think the fact that she had their images and their profiles beforehand, that she was able to do some investigative work, and she decided in advance that she was into Dale, and Dale was the one for her out of all the guys that she saw the pictures of, and she is going to go down that narrative until he does something that, I don't know, changes her mind. That's what I think. Okay, that's what I'm going to leave it as. So unless you have another quick comment right now, I'm going to leave it with my hot take. Very hot take, says Jay Jobs. And then we're going to come back to you tomorrow at around 2 p.m. Eastern time, and we'll do the second half of the episode. So we'll go and reinvestigate the Blue Balls date and kind of all the aftermath that happens after that. And what else are we going to do? So tomorrow night, we're going to be talking about, Phil and I will be talking about The Amazing Race at 5 p.m. Eastern time. So if you watch that show, or if you don't, start watching it. We're only on episode 2. It's a really fun watch. If you just want some junk food reality TV, it's a really fun one. Then on Friday with Jonathan, I'm going to be talking about The Masked Singer, another really simple, fun watch. When we watch the episode, we do not watch the reveal. So we will do the live reveal on the episode on Friday between 2 and 6 p.m. Eastern time. It really depends on how scheduling happens for us. But in the later afternoon of Friday is when we'll go live to talk about The Masked Singer with our live reactions to the reveal of the unmasked celebrity. And then Saturday and Sunday, I'm going to do part 2 and part 3 of Love Island UK. They had a What Happened Next with obviously the first 6 seasons that they had in the United Kingdom. So we'll be talking about that and kind of looking at any, any gossip that might be going on with the Love Island UK. And I think I'll squeeze in there at either the beginning or end of Saturday or Sunday. I know that for Love Island US that, Jelly, so Johnny and Selly have met up. They're together. So Johnny's taking a vacation to California to hang out with Selly right now. And so we are totally going to find out what they do, go live, do some investigating. So Brazil and I will go live one of these days to talk about it, or it might be like an end segment of what happened next on Saturday or Sunday. So that's what's coming up for y'all. Later, charade. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Honestly, this started to get to be a good conversation. If you have any other thoughts, leave it in the comments below. Of course, make sure you subscribe and tell your friends to subscribe so we can get to 400 subscribers. Please, that make my day 100%. Like this video if you like the content that you are having. And if you don't like, just do something, because engagement is all about that algorithm of YouTube that we really want just to have more people joining in on this conversation. And lastly, if you could just ring that bell so every time we go live, you will be notified, and then you can join in the conversation with us right from the get-go. So I love talking with you guys. You're welcome, J Jobs. We will be here tomorrow. I'm going to try to come online at some point every day with something. So around 2 p.m. is usually what works. So we'll be seeing you tomorrow. It will be Brazil and I talking about part 2 of the Bachelorette episode. Ciao, ciao.